team ban.
Greetings and salutations, Dota fans. Welcome into our second broadcast of the day, our losers bracket kickoff with Team Liquid taking on Kaipi. Kaipi is a team with a lot of hype around them, and justifiably so. Since the addition of Eternal Envy, they've been on an absolute tear to become arguably the fastest rising star in Western Dota. They've played 20 times so far this month and have gone 13-6, excuse me, they played 19 times and have gone 13-6 across April alone, which is even more impressive when you look at the list of teams they've beaten recently. That list includes Liquid, Empire, QPad, Evil Geniuses, all in the last week alone. They're arguably the highest profile unsponsored team in the scene right now, and today they have a perfect opportunity to continue turning heads and dropping jaws as they look to prove they deserve a seat at the table with the big boys. Now, Liquid, they're a bit of a conundrum, especially over the last 30 days. They entered play today sporting a decent break-even record of 8-7 across the month of April, but what makes them so hard to pin down is the fact that when they're good, they're as impressive a team as you're going to see in the West, but they're still just one series above 500. They put big wins under their belt of late, and including bringing home the hardware at the D2L Season 2 Championship. But the problem seems to be one of feast or famine, with wins and losses both coming in flurries for them. Speaking of losses, the one that sent them down to the lower bracket was a bit of a shocker too. EG, who had been having problems with consistency of their own, has all of a sudden gone on a tear, and they bested Liquid for the second time in the winners bracket meeting just a couple of days ago. Now, Liquid finds themselves facing elimination and facing a team most players don't want to play in Kaipi. And Kaipi, though they still have a lot to prove, no one wants to take on a team that's on the upswing, especially when that team hung a loss on you the last time you saw him. So, for those who missed the earlier broadcast, we did manage to get the replay cast done of Kaipi versus Fnatic. Kaipi put on a pretty good performance, but unfortunately unable to get a win under their belt. They did take it to 3 games, but Fnatic advancing in the winners bracket, so Kaipi knocked down and now facing elimination as in Liquid in the kickoff for our lower bracket here at the G1 Western Qualifier. I'm AC if this is the first time you're hearing my voice, and this time happen to have someone brand new on for the broadcast. Very excited to have him on. This is Fear of Evil Geniuses fame. Fear, how you doing, my friend?
Doing pretty good, man. Excited to cast with you for the first time, and more excited to see this game as well.
Absolutely, and I'll tell you what, man, I'll just go ahead and let you lead off with this, and this is why people love to have professional players on. Give me your brief as quickly as you can as we see the picks and the bans are advancing. Give me a scouting report from a player's point of view. What's important for both of these teams, and what weaknesses do they have?
I think the weakness Kaipi has is they have, I wouldn't say a small hero pool, but they've been using the same amount of heroes almost a majority of games. And the first 2 picks I see off Liquid, and they're denying 2 of those picks. Those are not normal 2 first pick heroes. You know, you don't usually see that. But these are 2 heroes Kaipi loves to run. They love running that Clockwork on Bone 7, and they love having a support Bane whenever they can get it. So this is an interesting strategy from Liquid, just denying some of their favorite heroes. And they banned out the Bat Rider too, which is another hero they love to have.
Absolutely, and one thing that characterizes Liquid, I mean, Liquid has a phenomenal Clockwork player in Bulba, one of the best you're going to see.
They do, yeah.
And they do like to run aggressive tri-lanes as well, so I mean, obviously you can't just decide that's what you're going to see when you just see the Bane pick up, but it does leave the option open to them at the very least. Kaipi, I'm going to say probably just drafted the 3 most annoying heroes in all of Dota. Picking up.
I mean, this is the problem when you want to deny that Bane so badly, because they run it so well. You're going to let heroes slip through, like the Magnus, and the PL is a hero that they obviously wanted, or most teams want, with the Keep the Light. But this combo is like the Coddle, Magnus, PL is like a dream team lineup for most players. It's a very, very, very strong composition already for Kaipi.
Yep, in the last week, speaking of Keeper of the Light, and this is a stat straight from the pad of Statman Bruno, it's relevant at least up until yesterday. I'm not sure what the matches may have shown us yesterday before this stat or after this stat came out. But Keeper of the Light, as often as he is picked and banned, when he does manage to make it into the pool, he's actually got a 12-2 record for the most parts. So the good news about Keeper is if you manage to get him, you've got a damn good chance to win. Liquid, though, picking up the Lifestealer, there's that offensive trialing potential we were talking about, Fear. I love anytime you can get a Lifestealer in a position like this with an extremely strong offensive support like Bane. You have to at least consider that, even though going up against the PL with Keeper of the Light supporting going to be a tough task. And looks like there's a little bit...
Yeah, I've just had a little bit of lag.
Okay.
Can you still hear me?
Yep, I got you, brother.
All right, so I don't know. I had a little bit of a lag spike there. I disconnected and reconnected real quick, so it's good to be back. Anyways, but yeah, Liquid is most likely going to aggressive tri-lane, but usually when they do an aggressive tri-lane, they do not run a clockwork on their safe lane. So I'm willing to say this is a mid clockwork from Liquid if they do want to go aggressive tri-lane, which is great too. The rocket support is very good for aggressive tri-lanes. It's much easier to hit a rocket from the mid lane than the far lane.
Well, one of the heroes still available to them, and this is just talking about the safe lane farm. Usually you want to try to get some kind of, and especially with the lifestealer, and I talk a lot about this, lifestealer is one of those heroes that does want a little bit of relief in terms of just having another carry on the team. That's when he really comes into his own, when there's another target that's going to get a little bit of priority, and he can't just be focus fired over and over again. So Lone Druid not quite banned out, still one ban left from Kaipi. Or they could even, I mean, when you look at their lanes, you know, it seems pretty obvious. They're just going to want to defensively tri-lane the Lancer.
Yeah, they're definitely going to. The thing is, I'm curious on what Liquid wants. The Lone Druid is a pick they could definitely do. It's something TC loves to play as well, so I do expect them to pick that up. They also need, if they're a little afraid of the Phantom Lancer late game, they might go for more of a carry that has more AoE, but I think their plan is going to be just to shut them down early and just get such a huge gold lead that the Lancer can not get back in the game.
Now, PL Keeper of the Light, annoying for a number of reasons, and it's really easy to sleep on just how much Empower gives him from Magnus as well. So, you know, if I'm in Liquid shoes, this is a game I think I want to get an advantage very, very early. I don't want to be breaking even at 25, 30 minutes into the game.
That's a good ban last there. Storm's a great ban for them as well. The Lifestealer Infest Bomb is, you know, that's very, very, very powerful, especially against a lineup like theirs with very few stuns other than RP. It's hard to deal with that Storm. And that might just show that they don't want to, they might not pick a hero just focused on single targeting Storm as well later on down the road.
One pick that Liquid has been known to bring out, and with a Phantom Lancer on the board, I want to say it has potential as an Earth Shaker. Fluff does love to play his Shaker. Up against the PL, it can be an extremely effective countermeasure. Not going to win the game for you outright, but certainly helps you deal with PL and his Phantom Lancer army. We'll see what Kaipi wants to pick up. Leshrac is another hero I think has to be put on the board, or at least on the radar for both teams right now. Liquid could certainly benefit from having Split Earth to follow up a Nightmare. Then you can engage off of that by using Lifestealer's Open Wounds. But I think we're going to get a very good idea of what Kaipi's plan to go from A to B, to go from early game to late game, is going to be with this fourth pickup.
Absolutely. They could also, if they wanted to, Liquid, this is an option they have, is if they pick an offlaner, that's like usually a melee hero, for example, they can put Clockwork in the aggressive tri-lane and solo the Lifestealer against a melee hero in the long lane. They haven't picked a long laner up quite yet unless they throw the Magnus in that position. I don't know if Kaipi plays Magnus offlane very often, but I don't see any of the heroes Bone 7 regularly plays in this game right now. And it's usually the Bat Rider, the Clockwork, and Darkseer that I see him playing almost every game, and they're all gone now, so he's gonna have to play something new, and I have no idea what it is because I have not seen him play any heroes but just like those 3 or 4.
We're going to see Rubik being the pickup here, and speaking of the Magnus, usually it's going to be a Rise on that hero. Rise is an excellent Magnus player, and if they can get him mid with the Mag, they're usually going to try to. So the Rubik pickup, about as stable as you could ask. Now Liquid again. What, you know, the Lone Druid's still available to them. I feel like that would be an excellent pickup for them. It would, you know, tip their hat to Kaipi that they are going to be offensively tri-laning, but at this point I don't even know that it would matter. But you know, looking at this, what do you think would be the best hero pickup if you're drafting for Liquid, for example?
I think Liquid wanted that Rubik because, first of all, there's a lot of good spells you can still, like playing as a Magnus and having a Rubik is always great. And the synergy between Keeper of the Light, Phantom Lancer, and Rubik isn't necessarily that strong of a lane, to be honest. So I think they're more afraid of them getting it, and you know, the team fight late game against the Rubik Magnus, there's always that option where he can get that RP and they're going to be in big trouble. And especially if you still empower, that's a big way you can deal with Phantom Lancer. So I think this Rubik pick is more of a deny pick than they really, really wanted it, but it's a really smart deny from them.
Right. Well, looking at Team Liquid, one thing I love about their lineup is between the Shadow Demon ban, and yeah, they're going to go ahead and grab Lina, and which basically is the same thing as a Leshrac. Well, obviously not the same thing, but the same concept. You want to have the ability to follow up a Nightmare with a very nice small AoE stun, a reliable stun, and then that's going to give them plenty of damage as well. And that's the one thing Lina does give you over a Leshrac, is more reliable damage on one single target, or at least one single area. Whenever you
Lina's more first.
Yep.
You're right. Lina's more for burst, and Leshrac's more for, you know, he's AoE and he's more for pushing. He's a pushing support. Usually when you take a Leshrac, you want to be able to push towers with them. With Lina, you just want to kill stuff. So they want to be aggressive this game.
Waiting on our last pickup from Kaipi. But yeah, what I was saying about Liquid's lineup is the fact that arguably the 3 best counters the Lifestealer are already either picked or banned, and the 2 picks are all both belonging to Liquid in Bane, Clockwork, and with the Shadow Demon banned. There's just not a whole lot that can directly deal with the Lifestealer while he has Rage on, except for, of course, the reverse polarity. So Lone Druid is going to be coming out, but it's going to be going the way of Kaipi. So now, looking at the way they want to lane this out, likely to be a, would you say that's likely to be an off-lane Lone Druid, or do you think they'll maybe send Mag there and try their hand at having the Lone Druid mid?
I'm pretty sure it's offlane. I wouldn't be surprised if Liquid takes a Weaver right now. There's very few heroes left in the pool that can deal with a Lone Druid 1 versus 1. And Weaver would be one of them. Actually, Lifestealer is not bad versus Lone Druid 1 versus 1 as well. So they could do the aggressive try-in with the Clockwork, solo the Lifestealer against that. But they want their mid right now, I'm thinking, if they do it that way. Otherwise, they're taking a Weaver or something for TC to solo against the Lone Druid. They have their options. They can shift their lanes around if they want to. I'm curious to see which direction they're going to go here.
All right, so we've got a pretty good idea what's going to be going on here, Fear. Let's kind of walk through this. I mean, again, let's say you're a captain of either team. What do you think is going to be the general game plan on both sides, just in a sentence or two? I mean, when I look at Kaipi, obviously they have, and there's that mid pickup in the TA, by the way, they have the safety belt that is the Phantom Lancer. At first glance, it would seem to me that Liquid's going to be pressing a bit to get a lot more done early on than Kaipi, and Kaipi's going to be able to just kind of try to play defensive.
They have to. The one thing I don't like about this Lone Druid pickup is if they get behind early game, they're just going to fall apart, because when you have Lone Druid and Phantom Lancer, these are 2 heroes that cannot help in any way, shape, or form throughout mid-game. So if they get behind early, they won't have like that strong offlane hero like they usually have with the Clockwork or the Batrider to help them get back in the game and get that PL some farm. So if they get behind mid-game, I have a feeling they're just going to get run over. So it's going to be very important that they get through this laning stage.
And to be honest with you, just having casted Kaipi quite a bit over the last week or so, this is kind of something they do, and we saw it a lot in their series against Fnatic that was broadcasted from replays just a bit ago. Kaipi does have a habit of picking a very strong lineup with one very clearly defined goal, which does have its advantages in terms of just knowing exactly where you need to go with things. But the disadvantage is often it is a situation like you just described. If you don't execute early, if you don't have your game plan in motion very early on and you're taken out of your rhythm, it can be very hard to bounce back whenever you mostly have a lineup that, as you said, is one-dimensional in the particular way that Lone Druid and Phantom Lancer are just going to run you over late, but they don't give you as much as, say, a Lifestealer and a Bane or a Lifestealer and a TA are going to give you in that mid-game phase.
Especially against a lineup like Liquid has, it's pure aggression. They take this Templar Assassin to secure mid lane against the Magnetar, which they know is going to go there, and he's going to have complete free farm, and then that Templar Assassin's going to try to be super active in the tri-lane on bot lane and just try to run it over, or he can gank the Lone Druid. They're going to have to play super passive when the first night comes rolling around. And it's really going to be up to Liquid. It's going to be up to Kaipi to really just like minimize how much damage is going to be done to them throughout that first phase of the game. I'm going to say the first night, kind of like a Night Stalker kind of thing, but that's when Liquid's really going to want to start ganking.
Well, when I look at Liquid, one thing that does stand out, and you touched on it, when you saw the bans in the second phase for coming out of Kaipi, it was mostly Nake's Bomb heroes. So, you know, as your Puck, you saw, I want to say it was Puck, Queen of Pain, and Storm Spirit, if I'm not mistaken. But Liquid does have another method to get him into a fight on a high priority target, and it's this guy right here, Bulba handling the Clockwork. Going to have that immense reach. Go ahead.
Right. It also TA as well. When she gets a Blink Dagger is a great another way to travel with a Lifestealer. A lot of burst damage, so they have multiple ways of doing so. And they ended up doing the Clockwork tri-lane like I suspected.
And honestly, this is something I've seen Liquid do before. This is one of those situations where I feel like Kaipi should be able to do okay here, but if they screw up at all, if they end up giving away a first blood or, you know, 1 or 2 kills or something like that, it can get real ugly down here real quick. And right there's why. Bulba's just going to be able to man mode up near the creep way pretty reliably and have cogs to fall back on, and it is so annoying to try and cope with that.
Yeah, I think Liquid's trying to pretend like they're not in the lane and have them bait Bulb out and then initially just instantly go in for the first blood, but I think they're smelling it, so I don't think they're going to fall for it.
While this lane takes shape, I'm going to give it just a minute until they do reveal themselves. And then I'll run through the lineups. That looks like they're going to know the jig is up as Bulba's.
Yeah, there's a ward there that sees them.
Yep. So, no luck for Liquid in trying to bait that out, at least for the moment. So how about we take a look at who's handling who? We're going to have Zizou playing on our Keeper of the Light. Magnus, as predicted, will be on a rise once again. Fantastic Magnus player. Looking forward to big plays from him. Pi Dai Lai will be handling the Rubik. Lone Druid off by himself will be played by Bone 7, and Phantom Lance are going to be farmed by Eternal Envy. The other side of the river, we got TC one-on-one with the Druid. He's going to be handling the Lifestealer. TA going to be taken mid by Korok. Lena going to be handled by the Captain. Fluff going to have Bulba on one of his signature heroes on the Clockwork, and Bane going to be handled by IX Mike.
You keep the light. We will.
Absolutely. You want me to run through the Kaipi lineup real quick as well?
All right, just ran through them both. I go that quick, man.
Oh, did you? Oh, wow, that was fast. I was reading some messages.
No, it's no problem. We got a Nightmare. Looks like we're going to have a bit of a battle. Lena going to go ahead and take the Nightmare off. Bulba doing good damage. There's a telekinesis, but First Blood going to go the way of Liquid. Bulba locking it down, and this is what I was worried about here, Fear. When you see a lane, especially a tri-lane that's predicated around the Clockwork, you can cope with it, but if you mess up and give away 1 or 2 kills, especially a First Blood, all of a sudden those cogs get a little too high level. All of a sudden Bulba starts to feel tankier and harder to cope with, and you can see Liquid start to play a lot more aggressive if they want to follow that up.
Yeah, the cogs are like, they're 5 seconds, I think, at level 1. So if they get the Nightmare on top of that and he just cogs on top of them, there's no way you're bursting that clock down in the cogs. And whoever gets caught in those cogs out of the heroes that they have there, they're just going to die. They have to be super careful on where their positioning is. It's going to happen again right now on bottom lane.
Yep, Pi-Dai line. Gonna telekinesis.
He woke him up.
And they actually missed with the Light Striker array as well. Now the cogs go down, and Bulba, more out of frustration than practicality, dropped him down. But yeah, I thought for sure that was going to be another kill. Right now what we're seeing is one of the weaknesses of Phantom Lancer, and one of the ways you can cope with him. One of the most maligned combinations is the Keeper of the Light and the Phantom Lancer. And if you talk to anyone who plays, you know, at a normal person's Dota, not at fear level Dota, they just hate dealing with the Chakra Magic with the Spirit Lance. You just get spammed to death. You can't keep your health pool up. But the way you cope with that is just to run down their throat. Just always be in their face. And Phantom Lancer, as good as Spirit Lance is, just can't fight.
Yeah, that was just a really, on that last initiation, Sisu, like, woke up, because you can wake people up from Nightmare, and that's the only way you can really deal with it, and he woke Pi-Dai up before he could get in range of the cogs, so he got the telekinesis off, or that would have been for sure another kill, so that was a great play coming out of the Keeper of the Light there.
We were 4 minutes in. We got 1 kill on the board. If you're just tuning in, I'm AC, joined by EG's own Fear. Very happy to have you on for our first broadcast together. Hope we can make it a habit. But so far, not a whole lot to report elsewhere, really. We got 25 last hits for our Lifestealer. He's up against the Lone Druid. The Druid's actually suffering quite badly here. And
yeah,
go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, yeah, Liquid's getting what they want out of this tri-lane. Their 2 solos are dominating, and the PL's, like, he's actually getting some farm, but he's being pressured while the 2 solos get in the game. They're going to get a lot of farm up, and then they're going to come in mid-game and kind of make up for lost experience they have on their supports running this like aggressive tri-lane.
The PL's farm is not awful. He's sitting at 16, but certainly not in the shape he wants to be. Bulba's actually holding pace with him, sitting at 14. And now, here we go again. Spirit Lance going to be spammed out. Got him with the cogs that time. Pi-Dai going to grab Fluff, toss him out. There's the Fade Bolt and the Light Striker ready to follow it up. Pi-Dai low, going to eat the Dragon Slave and a Rocket Flare to clean it up and put another kill on the board. Fluff might be a return, and he will, as he ends up dropping. The Courier's actually just kind of kicking it right there. And finally, Bulba grabs him. There's the Spirit Lance, but he should be able to make it home, courtesy of the wand charges. So Cluckles, just basically playing Blimp Man there, almost got picked up, but as it stands, they go 1 for 1. Liquid maintains their lead.
Yeah, right there was like the power Keeper of Light. Like, they went on that, who was that, the Rubik right there, but they all got, like, could illuminate straight to the face. Right. And they ended up taking a loss for that instead, so that's really, really, really big for Kaipi right there, because this is free farm Lancer's going to get for, like, another minute or so, while the other heroes have to go heal. Both Bane and Clockwork are both low now.
Bulba soaking up the experience as best they can. The Spirit Lance, and now's when that begins to hurt.
Oh, on top lane.
Top lane, we're going to have an engagement. Looks like they're going to try to catch the Lone Druid. Druid is going to be behind his tower. TC thinks better of it. Does back off. So
yeah, he ended up dodging the stun there, the Lena stun on Lone Druid, which ultimately saved his life there. So nice little play coming out of Bone there.
Quick pause. Looks like Arise needs a second. Want to thank everyone for joining us. And while we have a minute of downtime, anytime there's a pause, you got to check out G1.2p.com, your coverage hub for the G1 Champions League. Tons of interviews, tons of articles, write-ups, you name it, not to mention your broadcasting hub and your brackets and so on and so forth, G1.2p.com. And looks like we are going to be back underway. For those who aren't in the know, on the mic with me is EG's own Fears. So while we wait on this to get going again, just want to have you plug yourself. If people are wanting to find out who you are and keep up with you in a bigger way, where can they find you on stream and on Twitter?
Oh, you can find me on Twitter at Fear Dota, Facebook on Fear Dota, and on stream you can find me at Fear Darkness.
Make sure you check the man out. One of the best carry players. You don't even play. Well, it's you guys kind of switched it up, but I still see you on carry. So one of the best carry / hard support players you're ever going to see. How's that?
There you go. I usually don't play too much hard support, but when I do play support, it's like more the 4 role.
Yeah, exactly. That's my favorite role too, by the way. I got to admit, just as a personal fan, I was excited to see you start doing that. Like, I feel like that's such a high impact role on just about any team, and getting to see you, the crafty veteran that is Fear, take over that role for EG, very exciting.
Definitely agree. I'm excited too to play it. It's a lot of fun. It's a change of pace.
Exactly, and maybe we'll talk a bit about that later on, and yeah, maybe we'll do that too. Actually, I'll ask for permission. Maybe we'll do a Q&A session or something if I can get 5 minutes of your time, just because I'm sure.
Yeah, sounds good.
I'm sure the fans want to hang out with you, have some questions for you and all that. But how about we talk about the game in front of us? We got 7 minutes behind us. 3 kills on the board, 2 belong to Liquid. Taking a look where the CS stand now, the Lone Druid is beginning to suffer heavily. He's at 19, being more than doubled up now by TC.
Yeah. That's super surprising to me, actually. This Lifestealer did so well against this Lone Druid that he's completely shut down now. And he can't get back in the lane anymore because Lena rotated up here now, and it's just going to pool. Now he just has to play like an off-lane position instead of 1 versus 1.
So how do you feel about abandoning this offensive tri-lane? You feel like it's a good call for Liquid or just a necessary call?
I think it's fine because right now they're a little afraid of if they go back in this aggressive tri-lane and if what happened last time keeps happening, they're going to get way too far behind. They want to get the levels up on the Lena. It's important to get that Laguna blade up and running. That way she can get those strong nukes in and actually bring heroes down throughout the mid-game. An under-leveled Lena usually ends up being complete food. So I like this transition. And it's also going to guarantee that this Lifestealer is going to have free farm now, because once this bear hits around level 5 and gets the entangle up, it's a really difficult lane for Lifestealer. But before that, he can do just fine.
One of my big questions, I think, is going to be which team's going to look to pull the trigger first. I mean, obviously, defensive is going to be the watchword for Kaipi, but how quickly is Liquid going to be looking to put things to use? I mean, we look at Korok, he's already got his phase up.
His Ace Rune, most likely.
Yeah, I was going to say, he's already got his phase up, now he's got an Ace Rune. But he's not going to be far from his Blink Dagger either, and we'll see what they want to do. The Druid seems to be a juicy target, and yep, that's where they're headed.
It's a great target for them right now. Looking at TP situation, the Lancer has a TP, the Coddle does not have a TP. Does their mid have a TP? He does, and rotation's already coming up.
There's the side trap. Korok has a passenger, and he's going to try to morph, doesn't matter. Light Striker Raid knocks him down. And, wow, RP canceled. They managed to catch 1. TC raged and is still going crazy on a rise. A rise mid. Maybe not going to make it away. 1 poor creep died to the Light Striker Ray. And now all of a sudden, Envy's by himself. Deciding to fight that out, not the wisest. Sentry goes down, but 1 meld adds another kill to the board. And this is what you call an unmitigated disaster. They're going to lose Rubik. Pile I Die uses the telekinesis, does catch Fluff, so he's got that going for him, but Open Wound's going to slow him down. And see you back at the well, my friend. 6-1. That's a triple kill for Korok, and that's going to cost him a tower for sure.
Yeah, that's the problem with Magnus right now. Like he went in and used his spells, but he didn't have the mana to skewer him back into the tier 2 tower there, and that would have saved his life and maybe potentially got a kill on Korok there because it would have changed where the fight was. So this is a situation where I was afraid if they got in, they're gonna have a very difficult time now. Because Liquid now has complete map control, and they have 2 heroes that can just sit and farm. So it's going to be all up to this Magnus moving around, and Rubik maybe getting a couple key spells stolen within these fights to change it.
TC just about done with his armlet already as well. I mean, and when you're able to get an armlet up on a Lifestealer this early, it's just such a big deal. You can just so much more reliably do stuff like dive towers, like try to play aggressive. And Bulba, almost level 6. I feel like that's really going to be a big mark for Liquid too. Once they have that hook, they're probably going to look to start putting it to use pretty quickly.
Yeah, the Liquid from right now until the rest of this game is they're all about applying the pressure, and they need to do it. Because if they just sit and let the Lone Druid and the Phantom Lancer just farm, they have no chance late game. But right now they're in a great position just to get some levels up, get some ultimates up on the Lena, get their core spells up so they can just fight, keep fighting, and get all the objectives done as far as towers, Roche, and whatnot, and just starve them for gold.
Korok just about done with his Blink Dagger. In fact, he basically has it right now. So he's going to be in great shape. And yeah, these inventories are just filling up so quickly. Fluff is just about level 6 as well, so Laguna Blade going to be ready for him to draw on. And all Envy can really do now is fight. I mean, what he builds now is a little interesting to me. He's got his poor mans and his treads. Is he going to go something like drums into a defusal, or does he even think about just flat out rushing a defusal in case he has to start to fight to try and defend the tier 2s?
Either can work. They're both early game items. I'm glad he's not just saving for something else. But I'm assuming he will go for the drums. It's hard to really call this because it's player preference, really. But he needs items to fight early, and they're going to go on top.
Oh, well,
Again,
that is such an absurd amount of damage. I mean, when you're talking the Infest, the Meld, and just the right-click damage that comes out of both of those heroes, and now Zissou eats a Laguna Blade and a Meld. Yeah, he just got two-shotted at 11 minutes into this game, 8-1. And, yeah, this is, again, the weakness you see out of the PL. I mean, and he's even having trouble split-pushing here. Mike's certainly going to eat some damage off of Spirit Lances, but, I mean, if you're Liquid, what's keeping you from just pressing Tier 2s and saying, no, you need to come fight us right now? And Bulba lands here in mid. Taking a look at Magnus. Looks like they are going to go ahead and back off. Looks like you have another lag spike.
Yeah, I did. I don't know what this is.
It's fine. Don't worry about it.
Just keeps lagging a little bit.
Not a problem, man. I'll cover you. Don't worry. I know how to talk.
You sure do. But anyways, what I was going to say here is this is the problem that they're having right now, and the biggest problem they have is not only just are their carries suffering here, their Magnus is, usually you see this Blink Dagger coming out pretty soon here, but he's nowhere near it. He's going to be the hero that needs to make the space, and usually you do that by getting a quick dagger. The other team is super afraid to push in because there's always a threat of that big RP coming in. Seen it too many times, Blink RP can change games. But when you don't have that Blink Dagger, it's much harder to pull off.
And there's
an
RP.
They're going to go on mid, yeah.
Wow, just using it with Refraction popped. Korok should, you would think, have a chance to get away here. Yeah, now Fluff's there. That's a waste of an RP. And if you're Liquid, yeah, exactly. You go, oh, okay, no RP. How about I just kill everybody? Keeper of the Light bursted down. Now we're going to have the open wounds on Arise. Arise is going to try to TP out of it. Light Striker Ray makes that not a reality. Fluff follows it up. 10-1. And, yeah, at this point, there's a Decimate joke in there somewhere since, you know, it's multiples of 10.
It's not done yet.
Exactly.
Keep going.
Pylite Die looks to be the next on the victims list, and Korok a little annoyed by the bear. Here comes Envy TPing in. He's going to throw out the Spirit Lance. Korok can't blink, obviously. He has Phase in 5. Doesn't have enough wand charges to reliably survive, but with a little help from his friends, does manage to make it away. And we can already see, I mean, Spirit Lance is doing damage. But at this point, the support levels for Liquid are just going to start to get out of control. I mean, we're just 13 minutes in. Let's take a look at the gold graph tells the whole story. 7,500 gold, the advantage for Liquid right now. And you're talking about just the same in terms of experience, and they're just going to take this tower uncontested.
Yeah, they need to start like picking their fights a little better here. They had to know that killing a TA with a Magnus and a Coddle was going to be a tall task ahead of them, and they just kind of forced the issue there. They just need to sit here, play back, play passive, let Liquid get the advantage, because there's nothing you can do about this point. Just let them have it. Don't like put salt on the wound here by just keep fighting when you're not in any condition to fight.
Roshan in a condition to fight, but not for long. We can already see the strength of armor reduction off of Meld combined with TC's early armlet, making this Roche fight pretty fast affair. We're 14 minutes in, 11 kills on the board, 10 of those 11 belong to Liquid. Yeah, and right now, I mean, even I don't think it matters if they know what's happening or not. I don't think they could do anything about it.
No, there's nothing they can do right now. Interesting item choice from Korok here. He went back for the drums. Which means he wants to get super aggressive throughout the mid game here.
Right.
I usually don't see this from him. I usually see him pick up the big hitter items, get the Deso, or get the crit as soon as possible and just start blowing stuff up. And they're going to Fest Bomb top lane.
And he could be biting off a bit more than he can chew. Never mind. TC says that's fine. I'll just completely blow him up to the point that he never has a chance. Do they have detection? They do not. So unfortunately unable to pursue out Eternal Envy, but Liquid extends their lead even more.
Bot lane too. Mike's coming from behind with grip.
Yep, there it is. Bulba. He's in the vicinity. He's in the neighborhood. Drops the cogs and see you in the well. This is
a disaster for Kaipi. In every single lane, they're just getting picked apart.
Yep.
There's absolutely nothing they can do. The best thing they could actually really hope for is just hope Liquid takes every single one of their towers, as bad as that sounds. But just sit in your base with the Coddle PL and just hope to God they dive you too much and you just get some pickoffs here and there. But if you're going to go out and farm the lanes one by one like this, they're going to get picked off.
Yeah. And, well, I mean, right now, the ability for Liquid to even dive is pretty high. I mean, Blink Dagger's done on Korok to go with his drums. He has an Aegis, so at this point, they can start playing a little bit balls out. The ability for him to just dive via Blink with TC inside of him Makes even defending the tier 3 sound like a tall order. We've got 2 moving through the jungle in Korok and Fluff right now. Fluff on his way to a mech, and he's basically going to have it done real soon. And poor Zissou. Well, we'll see you in the well one more time, buddy. Light Striker, excuse me, Dragon Slave. Yep, there we go. One more auto attack.
This is the beauty of heroes like Templar Assassin. When you get a solid lead and you have like under farm supports on the enemy team, they just one meld strike is like 70% of their HP.
Yep. Well, Liquid looking to be in good shape. I mean, you kind of gave us a prescription a moment ago, but let's see if there's another option available other than just defending their tier 3s for an hour and a half. If you're in Kaipi's shoes here, Fear, what are you going to try to do to get your team back into this game?
Their Lone Druid and Phantom Lancer need to play super passive and just farm. They do not join these fights. What they need to do, though, however, is use this RP every time it's off cooldown to get solo kills. And they're going on Envy here, he's going to get slept. I don't know, is there any backup? I heard a hook, but it's nowhere near.
TC being watched closely by the mag. We've got potential for battles everywhere on the map right now. There it goes. Just heard the hammer drop. Caught TC, but TC's so tanky and rages through the skewer. Little too slow. Arise instead. We're going to see Envy picked off. Open wounds on Arise. He has nothing he can use. TC going to infest to get his health back up. Down he goes. Bulba under the tier 3. Does not care. Pile die. Gets blown
call this soon.
up. Blown up. Now, the next on the list going to be our Druid. GG's got to come soon, man.
Yeah,
I mean,
there's nothing they can do anymore at this stage of the game. They're just way too far behind. They've got 1 kill. They got a bunch of squishy supports, and the Templar Assassin. They got no answer for the Templar and the Lifestealer right now.
Yeah. She's got 3,300 gold. And we've got to be getting close to that coveted 1,000 gold a minute mark. Yeah, we're real close to it.
Yeah, and I think in this league, you can't forfeit or something. You just have to let the throne die. I think that's in the rules, so that might be why they're not calling it.
I actually don't know. I actually truly don't know. But, for now, Kaipi.
Oh, huge spell stolen from Rubik. He's not going to die in 1 hit anymore.
Hey, got refraction. So
he's going to die in 7 hits now.
18 minutes in, 19 kills on the board, and you could say Liquid owns the lion's share of them. They're 18 to the 1 of Kaipi. And this game, over before it started, really. And, I mean, and this is what we talked about during the draft, and there are a few teams that I would say kind of fit into this mold where they just like to draft teams, or, team compositions that are really good at 1 or 2 things, and that means that if they manage to have a good laning phase, they tend to be very strong and tough to deal with in the mid game, but if they get derailed, you wind up with this.
Yeah, exactly. This is what I was talking about before the game even started. If they get behind early game and lose their lanes, they have no way of getting back in it with these heroes.
Right.
And there's going to be some action down here, and Korok just doesn't care. He's going to dive anywhere he sees the hero.
There's a blinding light. Might buy him a little bit of time. And, yep, he missed with the couple of those attacks. There's the Fiend's Grip from downtown. There's the Laguna Blade, so Druid sent back to the well in a body bag. And
look where Envy's farming right now. Safest spot on the map.
That's not your jungle. That's not your jungle. But, yeah, 20 kills.
That's the only place Liquid won't be right now.
Exactly. But, yeah. I mean, there's only so many ways we can say it. I can show you every graph this game has to offer. Liquid in control of their own fate.
Hook. Shot again. Missed.
Yep, saw that. Bulba. Shooting a bit wide. Shooting a bit wide. And, yeah, and as if they didn't need any more help, they get the courier, too, because, hey, why not, right?
Yeah, big item is actually on Bulba right now. That Pipe of Insight is very, very, very important if you want to break a base against the Keeper of the Light. So they have that up and running, so you can expect them to start grouping up and doing some tier 3 damage every time that pipe's up.
Well, right now, I mean, when you look at their composition, Illuminate, as you had mentioned, very tough to push into. They've got a lot like that, though. Fade Bolt with Shockwave, very spam-heavy, very easy to melt down waves and just make someone pay for sitting outside your base. But Korok says, I have no intention to sit outside. How about I just kill Magnus immediately, along with TC. TC and Korok diving all the way back to the tier 4s. And, yeah, they don't care. Hey, there's that refraction. It actually worked. It kept it alive. GG Go Next comes out. So the GGs are out 21-1. And hopefully everyone will disconnect. Come on, guys. You call GG, leave the game. Because now I'm a caster that has to try and fill time while everyone farms the well. I hate that. I hate that. But anyway, man, tell you what. I mean, the obvious, I mean, we can obviously, well, they lost every lane and they got run over, but where's the turning point, in a more specific sense? Like, at what point did things really go wrong for Kaipi?
Well, the biggest problem they had was on, I don't even know, it's just like their lanes are just, they needed to win them. The turning point was they didn't win their lanes.
Right.
And like, once they don't win your lanes, but like, this is just an outdraft the way I see it, because they didn't have potential to win any lane, but possibly top lane, when the Lone Druid got much more destroyed than he should have. But I think next time they're gonna really think about, like, Bone 7, like I said, he's used to playing a hero that's really active. Giving him Lone Druid is the wrong choice. It's not their playstyle.
20 minutes, 49 seconds, the official game time. 24 kills total, 22 of them belonging to Team Liquid. They put a Game 1 win in the books in a hurry. Kaipi facing elimination. If they can't get it together in Game 2, they're going to have to turn that bagel into a breadstick and try to force a Game 3. I'm EC, and you're listening to One More Game TV2, joined by EG Sphere. We're both back in just a few minutes for Game number 2. Stick with us.